Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Rip. Hope everybody's having a good morning. Gosh, stocks yesterday, Shy. That price action was
What?
tough. I don't know if you were trading any of that personally, but trading intraday yesterday was really tough with all the chop. Didn't really get a move until like the back half of the day there, into the end of it. So I sat on the screens, didn't really trade much at all. But some interesting earnings after hours that I want to get to and talk about with you. And Bitcoin kind of getting that nice bounce, headed back towards that 100K. So interesting stuff going on. But we had CRM earnings, Marvell earnings last night. How we feeling about that? I know you were interested in CRM.
To go over like yesterday's action we just talked about, like the market feels like they're stuck in mud right now. Like it's just like
Still
slow
hitting
moving
all-time highs, but I
still.
mean,
But this is exactly
slow.
what we're talking about. That like I think the rest of the year is gonna be dead. It's gonna be more like trend sending. Like whatever the trend has been, it's just gonna continue and it's gonna happen on low volume. So that's what we've been seeing. But yesterday, like Salesforce reported their earnings, and they're known as like the king of SaaS because of first mover advantage. They revolutionized CRMs. They reported, they didn't report great numbers, but I think the market is digesting that their AgentForce is gonna be the monetization from AgentForce is right around the corner, not that forward looking. And I think it's getting a lot of people excited again from AI is finally hitting that second stage, which is applications. And you're seeing like the king of SaaS showing signs of that right now via AgentForce. I do think if you take like all the fancy language from the CEO on the call and actually look at the numbers, like I think CRM is in a little trouble, and I don't think AgentForce is going to be that much of a savior for them because end of the day, it's just a chatbot, and they still have a licensing subscription business model that I think is going to be disrupted. Like not CRM specifically, but that specific business model which is based on like seats, not consumption, will be disrupted going forward in post AI world where workforce will get reduced slowly. Like I'm talking to happen all at once, but like teams of eight will turn to teams of six, teams of five, because of all the tools that AI provides. You don't need that much workforce anymore. So these subscription-based companies who have these business models will get disrupted. And right now, Agentforce is maybe the hot thing that's a very easy low hanging fruit for Salesforce to kind of like advertise in the near term, but I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be, I don't know, like what AIP was for Palantir. It is not that. So, or even Cortex AI for Snowflake, it's not that. It's just like a cool little feature, but I think there's going to be chatbots on every product suite going forward from every major enterprise. So like, I don't know how much that's going to move the needle, but it is a sentiment read for stage two of AI, and that's why you're seeing software names run this morning. You're seeing MongoDB, like one of those names I said after Snowflake's earnings, will be a great sympathy play ahead of their earnings in like next week. They're up 5%. Snowflake's back above 180. You're seeing Cloudflare 107. You're seeing even CrowdStrike having a disappointing outlook in their earnings last week, catch a bid. Cybersecurity is raging. Confluence up 5%. GitLab's up 5%. Like the list goes on. Software is where you want to be, and you're seeing that reflected in the pre-market action, and also it's driven by the narrative from Salesforce in their earnings yesterday.
100%. Just taking a look at Bitcoin right now, as well. Things are just still quiet, right? We're consolidating still, making higher lows though. I think there's no reason to be freaking out on any of this. I personally have picked up more two times leverage Bitcoin on this dip, just adding in one of my portfolios that I'm playing with. So I'm keeping eyes on it. Obviously, we're looking for that 100K. And Coinbase is looking good still in that consolidation as well. I'm keeping eyes on that. So interesting to see if Bitcoin wants to actually go there and test it. But I don't know, Shy. How we feeling? I think it's just quiet right now. I thought it feels a lot more quiet than I thought it would be. With stocks being kind of just back and forth and barely hit, like we're hitting all time highs, but it's just quiet and slow with VIX as low as it is.
Well,
I thought there'd be more excitement on crypto.
there's it's one of those things. The same thing in the equity markets, where if you look at 10,000 foot view, it does look slow. But if you look under the hood, there's a lot of explosive moves happening. Like you're seeing altcoin
Yeah, and
move.
XRP, right? Yeah.
Yeah, XRP, like they're moving. Same thing with the equity market, like
It's just funny. You see
spying.
Bitcoin sitting there,
It's just
and
sitting there chilling.
XRPs just fly up like, dude, what the heck is
Yeah,
going on?
100%. I mean,
Yeah.
it's happening across the board in like equities too. Like SPY's barely moving, but you're seeing like Palantir up 7%. You're seeing all these like major Axon up 6%. You're seeing a lot of these growth companies, growth tech catching major bids when SPY's like not moving much. Same thing's happening in the crypto market. I think people, it's this is what typically happens in a risk on environment where the bigger whales, it's not enticing enough anymore because everyone's confident in this environment where risk on is the trade to be. So they're going to look for better alpha plays, and it's going to be in the smaller mid cap names. And same thing in crypto space. Like the alpha might not be there for Bitcoin, but there definitely will be there for altcoins. And if crypto is still raging, why would I put my money in something that's a little safer that might be not stuck, but not moving as much as an altcoin can, where I can be up 50% a week potentially?
Yeah, 100%. So just moving over to daily rip and chart art here, we got mega cap stocks just driving the gains as always here. Obviously, NQ hitting new all-time highs yesterday, right? Things are still hitting all-time highs, but again, that intraday price action is just slow. And for me, I mean, just difficult to capitalize on. But things are still obviously going well and looking like things are going to close strong into the end of the year. So I'm obviously not really trading many options right now. I'm just trying to capitalize on the futures intraday, but I got plenty of equity sitting in my long term, right? So if we want to rip into the end of the year, I'm all for it. I'm not gonna miss out, but I'm not gonna be in it with my options accounts. That's for sure. So taking the rest of the year off for me. But yeah, winners keep winning. Palantir, Marvell, doing really well. What was that? Palantir hit $70, right? Was that the big level that everybody's talking about yesterday? Shy.
It was
Yeah.
$70. It's at 72 now. I mean, Palantir is a wild thing, but before we get to Palantir, let's talk about Marvell because
Mm.
Marvell is one of those names that's catching like a major bid past 6 months. And I made this call out specifically to my subscribers like 6 weeks ago after Amazon's earnings that Marvell is going to be the next name to run because all of Amazon's initiatives, like you saw AI initiatives, like from yesterday, you heard on the earnings call like a month ago, that's all being driven by Marvell. Like that's like all the like Amazon's. I'm trying not to get too techy, but let's just say that the introduction of the Tranium that Amazon's providing, that's essentially being produced by Marvell, and that's the key partner for Amazon. So all these Amazon like AI initiatives creating these in-house chips, that's being produced by Marvell, and you're seeing that Amazon is the king of compute, and with via AWS, that if they want to launch their in-house chip, it's gonna be pretty successful. And great sympathy play for that is Marvell. So you're seeing them catch a major bid, and it was undervalued now, and then was fairly valued around 80, $85. Now it's getting assigned a premium because if they're fueling a major player like Amazon's AI initiatives, it deserves a premium, and now it's getting it.
Yeah, looking really good too. Just shot up to that 110. I know we were talking about, obviously recently seeing that over $100. So nice to see there. Love to see that doing well. CRM up pretty good overnight. I know Shy doesn't like that at all, but
Fade this move.
hey,
Fade
that's a,
it.
that's a potential opportunity, right? When you see a bad earnings and you have conviction for that, right? And maybe prices up. I remember a while ago I saw something similar on a Starbucks earnings, and I had a great trade on that. Starbucks had horrible earnings. I think it ripped all night and after hours, and I woke up and shorted
Well,
that right away, and that did well, right? Not always gonna work, of course, but there's times for it. This might be one of them.
I mean, regarding CRM, like I think people are obviously seeing like what happened in 2023 for CRM. It nearly doubled. And why is that? It's because like CRM's business model is acquisitions and low razor thin operating margins. I think it was like 2% in 2021. Then they decided to like, all right, let's transform, let's get cost discipline, let's become more operational efficient. And they resulted into a gap margins of like 20%. So that's what caused that double. However, in this new post AI world, Salesforce is going to have to increase their expenses in R&D, G&A, Obviously, their SBC is a heavy component of how they handle things. So I think this margin expansion opportunity, the easy money to be made in that, is over. And now they have to fight the AI disruption in CRMs going forward. And that's going to cost a pretty penny. And the one metric the reason I'm so bearish on the CRM move is AgentForce is what they're pitching on the call, and it's getting people excited like, oh, maybe AI won't disrupt Salesforce because of AgentForce. AgentForce is just a chatbot. There's nothing special about it. And the clear one metric to track for Salesforce going forward is their RPO. And the RPO, remaining pricing obligation, that's where you can see actual revenue down the line. And right now, their North American revenue is only going up 6%. That's abysmal. And their RPO has been declining 3 straight quarters. I need to see a bottom in that metric for me to actually feel like they're benefiting from AI. Because right now, it looks like AI actually is kind of cannibalizing their business. And you can see it by the RPO metric. So that's why I think it does not deserve a 10% move. I would not be surprised if this got completely faded, and I'm bearish on this name.
Well, we'll keep eyes on it for sure. Shout out to the StockTwits community. They got the move right in the earnings poll there. So I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Trump's magic touch, I guess, keeps on going here. Unusual Machines was the first stock to do this with the unmanned aerial vehicle manufacturer, adding Trump Jr. to its advisory board last week. Oh boy. Trump Jr. emphasized the need to reduce reliance on Chinese import drones, aligning with Unusual Machines' strategy to revitalize U.S.-based drone component manufacturing. As of last week, he held over 331,000 shares of the company. That's a lot. That's a decent amount. 500% rally. Shares have recently pulled back as investors.
It's so ridiculous.
That's just it's stupid.
It's just purely assumption that the son will have a bad line to the president in case they helped out this company. Like I don't think it justifies a 500% move. It's just wild. It's just the environment right now. It's very risk on and it's very frothy.
Yeah, then we have Public Square. They jumped up yesterday. They confirmed Trump Jr. joined its board of directors, sending shares up over 270% just on the day. Ridiculous there. So I don't know if anybody heard in Spaces yesterday, but we were talking about PSQH. It was halted, and I mentioned that throughout the Spaces. And I think like 30 minutes later or something that it opened up and just flew to the upside. So crazy moves there. It looks like, what was the poll there on StockTwits? What do you think about the impact of Donald Trump Jr.? Looks like 55% of the crew thought it was bullish and it's a game changer, and they were right there. So cool to see that. Shout out to the StockTwits community as always. Other noteworthy pops and drops. We got Credo Technology Group. The semiconductor company soared after its second quarter earnings and guided top expectations. The company touted an AI inflection point as it's added new cloud computing customers. And the news sparked a double upgrade from Bank of America and positive notes from others. Any thoughts there? 48%.
I love Credo. I love Credo and Astera Labs. They're in the same bucket, same kind of business within AI thematic. You're seeing Astera Labs, ticker ALAB, like catch a major bid the past couple months. This was probably an error on my end. I should have seen that as a read through for Credo. So I think this is a great name. I think that's where the hot pocket is right now in AI, is clearly in that specific niche.
Yeah, Pure Storage up 20%. Enterprise data storage companies' third quarter earnings and revenue topped expectations, so that's doing well. Okta up 18% from yesterday. I believe that was earnings from yesterday. The identity management company's earnings, revenue, and guidance topped expectations as well. So we're obviously seeing a lot of that from these companies. Good to see. AT&T, can't forget about AT&T, right? The stock that never moves, up 5%. The telecommunications giant projected earnings growth over the next 3 years, anticipating more than $40 billion in anticipated shareholder returns. So, I mean, sounds like a good earnings to me so far in that area. But I'm not much of a trader of AT&T. I think I owned it at one point, and obviously got rid of it. Not something I invest in. But hey.
You can't. What can they do with that much debt they have? Like, especially in a dying product, like CTV is the future. Like, what are they going to do? It's 5G is not enough to like get through that debt they have.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Respect to the people that trade that. U.S. steel down 8%, fell after Trump had to block a Japanese steelmaker, Nippon Steel Corporation, from buying the company, instead pledging tax incentives and tariffs to support domestic steel producers. So looking a little rough there. Spirit Airlines up 45%. So weird to say that. I hate Spirit. We all do, I think, obviously. But hey, I mean, they're doing good there. So shout out to that. Frontier down. Interesting there. Got INTC. I've heard so much talk about INTC lately. But that doesn't look very good to me. That looks like a breakdown of structure to me on that
It's
chart. So
it's so cheap. That's the issue. Like right now, they're trading at like one times the price to book. Essentially, what that means is like some of their segments of their like Intel's business is worth more than like what the business like, Intel's market cap is as a whole right now. Like it's very undervalued. However, with the new CEO being forced out, it felt very hasty. It felt very emotional and felt like lack of an action plan afterwards. And that's just creating even more of like noise and lack of clarity of what Intel's going to be like going forward. And I just think it's one of those companies that it's dirt cheap, but I don't believe in the board of directors making the right moves going forward because they haven't proven in the past like couple of decades. I've been researching this company more and more this week, so like I am intrigued because I do think their foundry is a necessity for the U.S. and Trump's all about U.S. And I do think the CHIPS Act is like they're getting some billions on that, but I do think there might be more money down the line via Trump if they get the right leader who's actually tech focused and not like a dinosaur who isn't that. So like we'll see who the new CEO is. I would have liked the CEO resigning and them having a new CEO right away. Them not having that made me feel like the board of directors and Pat, the previous CEO, clearly disagreed about something and is probably splitting the company into parts, and that's what caused them to fire him essentially, force resign.
yeah, and I just technically looking at the chart, I don't like that breakdown we got when we were in the about the halfway retracement and that gap on the daily chart there. We got just the halfway retracement is 25.44. We got just over that a little bit and couldn't hold over it, rejected and got right back under. So that shows just weakness to me in this name, and then we're getting that breakdown of structure. So obviously losing that higher low structure as of now. So I'm not liking it as much as at the moment, but we'll see what happens with it. Meta all-time highs again. I mean, it just doesn't stop. Loving it. I haven't been trading it lately, unfortunately. It kind of sucks because I do love to trade Meta, but the moves there have been great. That technical breakout, you can't fight against that, right? And being at new all-time highs in price discovery mode, you got to just let this thing fly. And the only thing I really do when we're at all-time highs like this and no man's land where you have no actual levels to go off of is you got to go off every psychological level. Right, we hit 615. Okay, we hit 620. Right, okay, and you just got to go level by level, really, until you see something happen. But I mean, beautiful moves there. Nothing stopping Meta.
I mean, yeah, Meta. I'm a little not bearish, but I'm a little wary on Meta in 2025 because they benefited a lot this year on the polarizing election. Like a lot of dollars got pushed towards Meta's ad revenue. I do think they're disrupting the LLM space via Llama and making it open source, but I don't think they're going to monetize that for at least a year. It's going to be more of a 2026, 2027 thing. So like I think the re-rating it's occurred in 2024 was purely on undervalued. Now they're seeing like they're going to be the leaders of AR, VR, and the LLM. So now they're getting re-rated to be fairly valued. I mean, to premium value because they have they're clear leaders of those two segments. And now I'm like, okay, so what's next? What's gonna be the next catalyst in 2025? I really don't see one. I think it's gonna be a really tough year-over-year comps because 2024 was one of those one-off years on a lot of revenue being reflected from the election that 2025 might be tough. So this might be one of those names like what Jordan's calling out, like I love Meta. It's a great business, great company. I love them in the future, but near term, 12 months, it might get a little tricky on if they can actually
It might
outperform
just
the
be
market.
quiet too. You know what I mean? They might it
Hmm.
might not even be this big pullback, but just really nothing happening, right? There's been a lot of
Yeah.
gains this year, and I mean, if you've noticed, it's kind of been the first of all the tech names to be running when we do break out.
Mm.
Meta's always been the first, guys. It's like been Meta or the semiconductors, either one, right? Meta and semis have like very much led things. So, I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see this being the first one that actually turns its head around, right? And maybe starts to go the other way. So, keep an eyes on it for sure. Good stuff there. Over to Apple making new all-time highs. That weekly breakout is just absolutely beautiful. We've talked about that a little on the show, I think, before it broke out.
Hmm.
And I mean, nothing bearish about it except for the fact that you got to sit and wait in that consolidation, right? Which can be hard to do. So that's where buying time if you're trading options is very important, or holding equity with conviction there. But beautiful moves. I can't I can't complain. I hold Apple long term. I'm very happy with the moves lately. But obviously, I mean, I know your thoughts a bit on Apple and right now, like how are people buying it at these prices? I agree. I mean, I'm not buying it here. I'm just holding, but
I mean,
can't
it's
argue.
25% overvalued. Like it
Yeah,
should not be trading at 40 times PE. It should be at max 30. I don't really know what's happening. Apple should not be the most valuable company in the world right now, especially the year they've had. Like
I love
what
the run between Nvidia and Apple, and they're just like
the
all running for the most valuable. I love that scene.
100%.
It's
It
so
feels
cool.
yeah, it feels like an old geezer on a basketball team who used to be the star for decades. Now this hotshot rookie is trying to become the star.
It's
That's what it
exactly
feels
what it
like.
is. Yep, 100%. I agree. But yeah, I mean, I really have no technical reason to be bearish quite yet. Obviously, there's thoughts of it being overvalued at these areas, of course. But I have no reason to be, selling any shares or anything like that. I think if you've caught this breakout, especially with options, you're doing really well lately. And but I mean, you're also if you have caught this with options over the past week, 2 weeks, you're heavily in the green, So not a bad idea to maybe be securing some of those gains coming into the new month and into the end of the year really here. Not a bad idea getting that breakout because I don't know how much it's going to continue, even though you're in all-time high no man's land. So
Hmm. It's
we'll
just
uh,
tricky.
we'll see where she wants to go from there.
All right,
We will
let's see.
see. But I know we got some pre-market earnings movers too. I don't know if you're watching, but Foot Locker down 10% right now.
Foot Locker.
Chewy's down 4%.
Oh.
Go to tech education, sorry, down 9%. Gosh, just a lot of red I'm seeing from some of these
So,
earnings here.
yeah, I am seeing some pre-market. Like the rotation is absolutely real the past 2 days, or yesterday, maybe on Friday as well. I can't remember, but like small caps to large tech. And same with growth tech. Small caps are red again. It's looking feedy this morning. IWM's only up 0.16%. I'm seeing like my three small caps that I love, RKLB, IonQ, Jumia, they're all red. When you're seeing like names like Amazon just hit an all-time high pre-market, up 1%. You're seeing Nvidia above 140 now, actually at 142. You're seeing clearly Salesforce up 10%. I mean, let's go on. Like QQQ is up 0.8%. That just tells you everything you need to know about like what's catching a bid this pre-market. So I'm curious, like when we open in like 7 minutes, is that gonna continue, or are we gonna start seeing a fade from large tech going towards like the risk-on names like small cap, or is it gonna be purely small to mid cap growth tech companies that are gonna be the place to be today? Either way, I don't know. It's like do we have Pal speaking today?
Yeah, we have Pal speaking. I was just gonna go through some of the economic data. Actually,
Yeah.
I'll touch on some of it. We have Musalam. He's speaking this morning. That's at 8:45 Eastern. That already happened. 9 o'clock Eastern. Fed's Barkin speaking right now. We have S&P Services PMI coming out right about now here in 20 minutes or so. ISM Services PMI coming out at 10 o'clock Eastern. Factory orders. We got crude oil inventories today at 10:30 Eastern. And then, yeah, Powell speaking at 1:45 Eastern there. So kind of a weird time. He doesn't usually speak then, but something to keep an eye on. If you see some volatility in the market around that time, don't be surprised. You got Powell speaking. So should be interesting. Also, just something I want to touch on for later in the week on Friday, we got non-farm payrolls. That's really the biggest data point I'm looking at this whole
It's
week. It's
huge data
huge.
points.
We get levels that we use from NFP every single time it comes out. So I'll be heavily watching that data print. Obviously, unemployment's important. Initial jobless claims the day before as well, but that NFP print's going to be super important
Well,
for me.
the reason it's really important, if you guys don't remember, I think the last one was heavily affected like from the hurricanes. I think it was like stupid low. I think it was like 10,000
Tell
jobs got
pal to
added.
stay home. I
Dude,
know. Don't ruin the market.
so theoretically on Friday's prints, that low number that was last month should be reflected on a way bigger rebound this month. I don't know what the estimates are, but I'm assuming it's gonna be a couple 100,000. If that's not the case, and like last month's like low non-farm payroll number, it wasn't really that much of a hurricane related, but it was more like economy is like slowing down. That might be a sell-off on Friday. So like that, there might be some volume returning if we get like a number very low again on Friday, because that can't be blamed on the hurricane. That's just purely economy. So that's something everyone should watch out for.
Yeah, gonna be keeping eyes there for sure. But we got market open here in 4 minutes, so I'm keeping eyes close. Obviously, NQ, everything just sitting at these all-time highs, pulling back a little bit here, but not enough to get me excited on anything. I'm interested to see if we want to go test, yesterday's high on SPY and Qs and everything here. Maybe fill that overnight gap, but I'm also not sitting here going to expect that with the strength I'm seeing in the market, right? So if we can get a move like that, I'd like to see it, but also not going to try and step in front of the strength until I have a real reason to here.
100%.
But I'm also not trying to just like buy the first dip I see, so I'm kind of in a weird spot to start the morning in terms of trading intraday. Probably gonna let things open up a little bit and not jump in on anything right at open. VIX just, oh god, VIX is about to get under 13. I mean,
12 handle? That's
are we gonna get a
wild.
12 handle today? This is crazy. It's at 1310. It hit a low of 1305 this morning. So, I mean, a 12 handle. It just makes things harder. Again, we've talked about it. I love seeing stocks at all-time highs rip it. My long term loves it. Don't get me wrong, but it can make for such a tough trading environment with VIX so low and having no volatility in the market. It's like that. It's like this happy medium I'm trying to find of like, okay, I want VIX in the dumps because that means stocks are ripping. At the same time, I want VIX over 20 at least to get some real volatility in the market because it does just make trades so much easier going for the most part. A lot of the time lately, I find myself sitting in trades and sitting a lot longer waiting for things to happen than they should or than I usually do. So
Totally.
just something to keep an eye on. And again, I mean, end of the year, I've never been this way, right? I've always been the guy that's like, I'm taking all the trades, this and that. I'm trying to be smart this time, right? And keep my money.
It's called maturation.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I don't have good enough reasons to be risking a whole lot of my hard-earned money into the end of the year. So, I'm keeping it quiet, but I'm still trying to have fun, trade some futures, and it makes me better overall. So, good stuff there.
I, s-
Any
I,
what's
I
up?
saw the comment about crowd on YouTube, I think it was. Crowd's a top three position for me. I wouldn't add at this level. I think it's going to retest 320. I think the commentary from the CFO on the call saying that ARR is way overvalued from what the street is like estimating. It's going to be a lot lower. It's not going to be a lot lower, but it should be revised lower. I think it's telling us that they're going to be growing. Like this outage impact is not going to be just a matter of months. It's actually going to impact at least the next 6 months. And that's going to be not dead stock, but like it's got the premium valuation again now after it filled that gap. However, the fundamental profile is drastically different, even though the price might not reflect that. From like, I think the price was at 360 during an outage for CrowdStrike, and now it's at 355. So it feels like it should be the same kind of company. It's not. It is fundamentally a lot less. Like it's fundamentally more expensive right now due to the multiples because everything's getting revised lower. And they're still offering like 20 to 30% discounts for customers to redo their contract just so they don't lose them in like a year or so. So like they're going to be giving out discounts. It's going to affect their margins for at least like the next 6 to 12 months. So it's one of those names that I wouldn't add here, but I'm also not selling. But I got in around $100, so it's a different story. But market just open right now. Let's see. I'm looking at Salesforce right now. I might buy some puts. Let's see how it reacts.
Keeping an eye on NQ. Getting a little bit of a pullback here. But nothing too crazy. Tesla coming in. Microsoft, or no, Apple getting a nice rip there.
Do I see my eye? Is Palantir red? That's not possible.
Oh.
What is happening with that?
I mean, it did gap up and hit $72. So
No, it should not fade, but it should. Oh my God, Amazon's breaking out right now. Love to see that. Let's see what CRM. Yeah, CRM's so great. I'm bearish on CRM, but like up 10%. Like I'm gonna wait probably 10 or 15 minutes for like the vol IV on the contracts to start fading after that earnings gap up, because right now it's still pretty expensive. So I do think CRM is one where like I'm gonna buy 320 strikes on probably March 2025 on puts, and it's fading. Fuck. I should have maybe just bought it and sucked it up. We'll see.
It's all good. It's early.
Yeah,
It's early.
it's early. Let's see what else is happening. Yeah, small cap showing clear weakness again. Tesla's red now, so Tesla's still getting affected from that Delaware ruling.
Yep, a little bit of weakness there.
Emphasis
That's fine
on the
though.
ruling.
Give me a bit of a buying opportunity here.
Let's see.
Fine. God, we're only retesting 350. It's not much of a buying opportunity.
I know.
Jeez. I wanted to see a retest of 300, but we never got that. I was really confident in that, to be honest. I was super confident we were going to see 300 again. And I don't know anymore. NQ pulling back. We got to, let's see, where's the gap fill level at? For QQQ, gap fill level for QQQ is 517.14. Yesterday's high. Coming into VWAP on NQ though, I would expect a little bit of a bounce at that area. So I would be careful if you're short some.
Yeah, it's kind of a. Let me see what else is running. Unity is catching a major bit. It's up 5% pre-market. It's one of those names that I believe is very undervalued. Chewy's down 8%. Let's see. Yeah, Unity is catching a bit this morning. Love to see that. Salesforce continuing their fade. Wow, Okta had a major fade as well. It's just getting sold. These vicious like Octo's up 14% pre-market, and now it's like 8% red candle.
Oh, they're giving it back.
Completely giving it back. It's just interesting because they had a strong earnings.
Yeah,
I'm wondering what's wow, Snowflake's catching a bit, up 4% now. Let's go.
I know I saw your post this morning. You saw that over that $180.
I love it. I love to see it.
$200 stock soon.
That'd be wild. Everything's just so frothy. That's like I'm just like a little scared.
They only let it drop just a tad just to buy it back up here. Jeez. Yeah, it's been a brutal market. Crude oil inventories today. I'm gonna keep an eye on that. Might get some movement in oil. Sitting down in this, it's so choppy in this consolidation on the daily, weekly charts. It's really tough to form any opinion there. Rusty getting a nice bounce. I know you're thinking maybe small caps get a bump today. It's starting to pop.
I'm watching it. I'm watching QQQ and IWM.
I think IWM looks great. We're just going sideways. The fact, I mean, if there were really strong sellers here, I feel like we would have sold off from this area at the highs, especially sitting right at this resistance from November. And we're just holding. We're just hanging out, holding. That makes me think it wants to break out.
I'm trying to see what else. Yeah, Amazon's 217.
We just retested the figure on NQ. 400 level. It's also VWAP. There might just be buyers sitting there to hold it up. I haven't taken any trades into the New York session at all yet, but Tesla coming in hard, jeez. Let's see if we can get under yesterday's low. Still have that gap to fill. I know my guy Paper Gains was short the other day, kind of looking for that gap fill. We didn't really get it, but if we can break yesterday's low, I think we have potential to get that. I'd watch for those gap fill buyers, though, off 345.50 area. Especially in that consolidation. I wouldn't want to get too short in that area. Coinbase getting over yesterday's high, looking good so far.
Oh,
It's a nice pop.
Roku's catching a major bid as well.
Any news?
Yeah, so there's an analyst that dropped the news this morning that Roku is going to get acquired next 12 months, and it's going to be a juicy premium. And they listed a couple names, like, I don't know, one of the major LLM players just to get all the Roku data, which I think is such a far-fetched idea. Netflix, Trade Desk. I get this question a lot, like, because Trade Desk just, I get this question a lot recently. Trade Desk just announced like an operating system that's going to compete with Roku. Like I think it was 2 weeks ago. Actually, Jordan, you're gonna love the name. It's called Ventura.
Oh, I love that. Of course.
So people are saying Trade Desk should acquire Roku. If they do, I'm going to sell my Trade Desk position. That is so freaking bearish because the whole thing about Trade Desk is how they're the agnostic player outside the wall gardens of CTV. If they acquire Roku, they're in a box now. They don't have that freedom of movement across CTV as being the agnostic play. And I think it would be the dumbest move possible. And I would really hate that to happen. I don't think it's going to happen because Jeff Green, the CEO of Trade Desk, he's like top 10 CEO in my opinion. Like he just kills it. He won't make that mistake. He's like, so I think that we're fine in that, but they're catching a bit this morning. I think Roku is one of those companies where it's founder-led CEO. It's his eighth company that he founded. That's why they called it Roku, because Roku means eight, and I'm blanking on the language, but in a language. He stayed around for too long. Like he clearly missed the CTV boats. He missed Walmart acquiring Vizio is clearly going to hurt in the near term for Roku going forward on what they can do via the operating system. Like it's just one of those companies where they sell their hardware at a loss, like those Roku sticks, but they make up for it via the operating system. I think that operating system is slowly fading now, and now it's like, all right, well, where are we going to make our buck? Where's our bread and butter? And that's what's like, I don't know, and that's why it's going to get acquired probably. But it's catching a bid. Anything else do I see? I mean, Tesla's fading. It's below 350 now.
Obviously, it's early, but
Yeah.
already the volume still looks light. But again, it's early. But just noticing from the price action so far, it's already feeling better than yesterday. Yesterday was just so rough, right from the open all the way pretty much to the close. If you were trading intraday, you felt it for sure, especially with
100%.
options. Gosh.
Now
NQ
CrowdStrike's
low
red too
today.
now. It's crazy.
We just hit VWAP on NQ. I'd watch for buyers to hold up that 392 area just below the figure. If we can lose that, I see us going back down to yesterday's high, which is on NQ, that 330 area. And that would be hopefully around the same level as a gap fill for QQQ and SPY and all that. So kind of looking for that. Hard to fade the strength, though, obviously, of the market. Like, it's very tough to fade the strength, but you know, just to get a little back test, gap fill, I wouldn't be surprised. I think that's valid. But you got to watch out for those buyers because they're clearly present. They clearly pushed us all night, overnight there. So you got to watch out for them to step in at any point and understand that we're, like, if you're shorting, you're in their territory, right? You're in the bulls territory. You got to grab your money and get out as fast as possible.
I think, dude,
Not
it looks
overstay your welcome.
It looks like it's gonna be one of those research days
Yeah.
where I'm just gonna do a lot of reading and research into companies because nothing's really it's stuck in mud a bit.
hmm Coinbase though, I love this move on Coinbase. Beautiful, beautiful. I want to break out of this consolidation. I do not know if that continues and we get that, and this is the true start of it. But if you've been trading Coinbase, you know that daily has been rough. It's been a tough trade lately, just because that back and forth price action. But maybe it's time to start getting out of it. We're getting some momentum, holding over yesterday's high. As long as we can keep doing that, it's a bit of a trigger long to me for the swing today. If we close over that, again, I'm really not looking to heavily take any more swings. So, but we'll capitalize with equity and all that.
What's Robinhood doing? Because they just launched a bunch of things today on
When
their
it's
investor
an
day.
yeah, investor day, I forgot. They gapped up, came back, retested yesterday's high, and they're holding that.
I think
As long as
so
we're
much is.
holding that, I think it's good.
I think Robinhood's one of those names that a lot of positive catalyst is being priced in. So like this is the tricky thing about like again, I'm a fundamental growth investor. I have iBaking experience, so I have a lot of modeling experience. I don't know how to model out Robinhood. I have zero idea. Are they a brokerage or are they a fintech player? It feels like it felt very brokeragey 2 years ago. I was like, I don't want a brokerage. I hate that business model. I just don't like it at all. I think they're slowly turning into a fintech player, and you're seeing it with all their initiatives this year. Like they're just like revolutionizing the all-in-one platform for everything you need, like credit cards. Like I use that. I stopped my Chase Sapphire because now I'm using the Robinhood one. I get 3% on everything, and it's also I have a Robinhood Gold, so it makes sense. I'm not paying that fee. So now I'm using the credit card. So now they're infusing into the consumer life on top of being a brokerage. And now they're also these betting websites we're seeing from Polymarket. They're also getting into that as well. It's like their TAM is expanding drastically by just adding a new leg. And I think now they were brokers, they're transforming into like this all-in-one fintech player. And now I feel confident that I don't have to price them to their book. I think I can price them towards a fintech, a comps like the Bill.coms, etc. I just have to see how they can like the easy money was made. Like all these initiatives happened this year. I want to see what incrementally can happen going forward. Also, like they announced today, like they're about to enter the Asia countries, Asia region. So like there's a ton of international runway for a name like Robinhood where it doesn't have that much of a presence and it's getting more and more validated since the GameStop fiasco that I do think it's going to get adopted internationally more and more.
Yeah, Hood's an interesting one, man. What a ripper. I've been Hamid from Earnings Hub has gotten me looking at that since he was really talking about it when he was hammering the table about it way early on, and I mean the run since has been beautiful. Shout out Hamid. Uh, Gosh, $40 now almost. It's ridiculous. Love to see it. VIX, we're about to get a 12 handle. It's about to happen. Jeez, look at this 1305. If we get a 12 handle, that's just really rough.
I'm at, I might buy hedges today. Today
That
might be the
I mean,
day.
it's a cheap hedge, right? It's not gonna cost you much with VIX like that, but it's just crazy. They're crushing volatility, and I don't. I wonder how much longer it can keep going on. Some point we got to get some changes. But we'll
Wow,
see.
Palantir is really fading right now. So okay, so Palantir's
Doesn't like that
testing that 70
$70 then,
level.
huh?
Yeah.
Or no, we're retesting. God, I forget we got over it in pre-markets hit 72, so we retested 70 now. If we get back through that, it's not particularly great. I would think we go kind of test those midday lows on Palantir from yesterday. What was that? 68.50 area right there where we pulled back. If we lose that 70, I'd look for buyers off that 70 initially though here, see if they hold it.
I mean, I don't know. Palantir's defying expectations. So it's tricky. I get the arguments on both sides. Like I'm a bull on Palantir, but I fully understand the bear arguments on Palantir right now. Like valuation is 2021 level, 100%, but it's not bubble. in my opinion. So that's why it's like tricky. Like it's one of those clear winners that feels like it's gonna their scalability is nuts, but nobody who's been in Palantir Bull for years is touching the stock above 50. So like, what's driving this like move? It's really institutions because institutions were violently offsides on Palantir, just like how they were for Nvidia. Do you guys sense a theme? Institutions don't like to stick their neck out on some disrupting technologies until it's proven. And when that validation occurs, it's a couple 100% later. So I think right now this move from Palantir from 50 to 70, it's purely institution driven because they want that exposure to that stage 2 layer of AI. Palantir is the best way to do that, or clear, they're the clear winners and the safest in a way because it's just so obvious. And a lot of these institutions also miss Nvidia in 2022, 2023. So like they don't want this to be the next Nvidia, and they're just I assume consuming a lot of their shares. That's what I think is happening, and I'd be cautious. I really would. But it feels like I don't know, I was just telling Jordan like before the show, like the option flow for $100 on Palantir was like really active yesterday. So
And that's something you don't necessarily want to just like ignore. You know,
100%.
oh, that doesn't exist. No, you'd be surprised, right? But obviously, that on the flip side doesn't mean okay, I just buy $100 calls and follow these guys, right? It's just be aware of the flow that's out there, what could happen. It's just nice to keep an eyes on. But I won't be surprised if we see, you know, some sort of movement from that flow, right? Because you know there's a good portion of retail that probably sees that flow and is like, oh, we're gonna jump on that too, right? So, and there's just so much hype with Palantir right now, it wouldn't surprise me. So NQ, I mean, we're making lower highs, lower lows so far this morning, since the open. We'll see if we can go truly fill that gap. I think it's possible, but bulls are still very present, so I would be very careful either way you're trading. Again, all-time highs are very, very difficult for the most part, so.
It's also very bullish. That's the tricky thing.
Yeah, that's what's hard about it. You know it's bullish, you know, but at the same time, that's why I feel like swings and or at least longer term equity is so much easier at these areas because you're not sitting and watching every candlestick. You know, you're not sitting and worried about every little move.
No,
Makes
100% agree
makes
with
it
you.
easier
Yeah.
to sit through that low volatility time. Zero's watching Adobe. How is Adobe? Let's take a look.
It's one of those
Ripping. Wow.
blue chip software, just like Adobe, Salesforce.
I own a little Adobe in the long term. Not a whole lot, but a little exposure. It's
It's
been in
funny how
this long consolidation.
I mean, people thought it was going to disrupt it. It's so funny from AI. Clearly not. Let's see what else is moving. Snowflake, MongoDB,
Yeah, this snowflake move. Gold is trying a little bit. I just think gold's been so quiet since that Monday we sold off November 25th. It's been really quiet and I'm
risk
feeling
on
more.
environments. That's what happens. Like people don't want that commodity play.
Yeah,
Look at Snowflake. I love this shit. I'm telling you, Snowflake's 215 is fair value. It's gonna go to 215 before they report their earnings.
you heard it here first.
It's like, and that was using last week's comps. Like I'm sure the comps are different now. So like I'm gonna stay conservative, but yeah, this is one of those names that seeing Snowflake up 4% and like seeing Palantir down 1%. I have not seen that at all
Yeah.
ever in 2024. So that's a weird combination to see. But definitely here for it. What else is doing well?
Well, reminder, just at 10 o'clock here in about 10 minutes, we do have ISM Services PMI coming out in factory orders. So you might see a little bit of volatility in SPY, QQQ, NQ, all that. So just be careful there. They are bouncing off VWAP here, so they held that 400 mark on NQ. Just below it, took it about 10 points just below there to 390 and held it. And right back to where we started at the open here, pretty much. So not too much going on there. Some nice moves right there, though, if you cut the little short at open.
I mean,
I'm not participating.
I kind of, as crazy as it sounds, like I like this pair trade of like going long the software sector and going short QQQ, if that makes sense. Like I feel like that's an interesting, like QQQ right now. I know RSIs are like different for every single person, but it's getting to the overbought section. It's almost a 70 RSI on a daily. And in a risk environment, I just don't think large tech's can do that great, especially after the last 2 year performance. Like
No, I'm
it's
with you. I mean, it's hard to expect a whole lot more growth into the new year when we've done what we've done this whole year. And it's not been like a slow gain. It's been ripping straight up basically to the upside all year. We've had those small periods of consolidation and pullbacks, and it's been right off back to the races. So to expect us to not do much, I'm not against it at all. I'm with you.
Palantir is breaking down. It's down 2% now.
Uh-oh. Lost that
Interesting.
$70. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go test that mid-range.
And Nvidia is now at the 140-ish. See, these levels are huge. Like Palantir at $70, like that was a clear resistance yesterday. And then when like those millions of like it was a block trade at $70 being sold every single time it hit it. Then when it broke through, it went to 72. Like it just flew. So like them breaking 70 is a real thing. But also Nvidia, it's fading. It's retesting at 140. 140 is a key level. We've mentioned it multiple times. So I kind of want to see what happens to Nvidia.
Yeah, Palantir is interesting. I will say I don't think this is any kind of topping day, just given where we've opened and where we're trading. It's an inside day so far, and I, I don't think I've ever seen a reversal off of an inside day. But we'll we'll find out, I guess. But I think as long as we're holding that 50% retracement mark of yesterday on Palantir, which is basically 68.20.
Morning,
Those are
guys.
just fine. Oh, no way.
Hey,
We have
Peter.
Peter. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Peter, how are you, my man? It's been so long.
What's cooking?
Nothing much. We're just getting this market open, starting things off. But wanted to ask you how things are with everything. And obviously, I mean, coming into the year end, it's been a crazy market. How have you been approaching into the end of the year here, and kind of how have things been at the floor over there?
You know what? Look, I think the market is telling us really what it thinks of what's going on. Obviously, right now we're waiting to see whether we're going to get one more cut by the end of the year. But look, there's this wonderful historic little bit of data that very few people know, that 8 times out of 8 times in a presidential cycle we have had where the week coming, the probably 2 weeks coming into the election, the market has rallied really beautifully. We've seen a follow through the 3-4 days after the election where the market continues to follow through. We have a pullback until November 21st, 22nd, which just seems like a normal, healthy pullback after a solid pre-election rally. Then you've got on November 22nd, you see the market reverse into like a pre-Thanksgiving, Black Monday, Black Friday rally, and then a Santa Claus rally into the end of the year. This has happened 8 times out of 8 times in a presidential cycle, and this year is no different. Just think about the way the market reacted. We did see the last sort of up until a couple of days ago. We saw this sort of up until like the that right the day before Black Monday, Black Friday, whatever the Thanksgiving thing was. The market did sort of flatline and go horizontal or go sort of non-directional for a number of days while it kind of got its footing. Right. But the enthusiasm around the market, retail sales around Thanksgiving have been super, super solid.
Mm-hmm.
And look, it's baffling. This has been one of the most hardest years, relative to, you've got 2 wars going on. You got all the sort of the pariah around the election and all that kind of craziness. Yet the market, we've hit literally record highs every day, every week, every month for the last year. Right. 2024 has been we're up 24% for the year. Right. Only 6 times throughout this year has the market done anything that you could even call a pullback or a sell-off or whatever, right? We saw one that happened in April, which was sort of healthy after the best week. The best first quarter since 2019. Then you saw a little bit of a pullback in July. After May and June, everybody called the end of the world. It was, dogs and cats living together. It turned out to be a great May and June. Then you had obviously August 5th, which was the Black Monday that we had in Japan, which was that crazy day. We came in on that Monday. We were down 256 handles on the SPY, and the market pulled back, and that literally lasted a day or two, right? And then we saw that the first week of September was the worst week for tech since COVID. Imagine that. September this year, the first week of September was the worst week for tech since COVID. That's a huge statement to make, but the second week of September was the best week for tech since COVID. So you're seeing these incredible paradoxes in day after day, right? You've got the worst week ever, these catastrophism type approaches, and the media keeps talking all this negativity when the market just keeps forging. Every one of these pullbacks has been nothing more than an amazing opportunity to buy this market, right? Every sell-off that we've seen in 2024 has been an amazing opportunity to buy the market, even though the media keeps catastrophizing everything, saying every time we've got these days where we actually have a little bit of a reversal, right? They're talking the end of the world, and there's nothing more than opportunity. So I think now,
100%.
right? That's all it is. The market tells us, look, I'm not an advisor, I'm not an analyst. I love to forensically break down why the market's doing what it's doing and let the market read it for me. And it's just telling us that there's money on the sidelines, first of all. People who have not even bought into this whole thing yet, they're probably going to start chipping away in 2025. There's solid growth in all these stocks. Stocks are trading at record highs across the board. Russell index is at record highs. So the market tells me that it feels like it's going to go higher.
I mean, you nailed it. I completely agree. And that's also one of the benefits of not being a macro-driven investor. Is like I'd be bearish and I wouldn't be participating. And luckily, I'm not that. But I'm also like some of these valuations are getting extended that I'm seeing a lot of people refer to 2021 bubble. Do you kind of sense any kind of 2021 euphoria on the floor at all?
Good question. No, I don't. I really don't. I don't see any bubblish. Look, bubbles would be irrational enthusiasm without any support at all, right? If there was a bubble, we've had enough sort of fragility around the market and around the economy, around the globe, that we would have seen a fracture. We would have seen things start to crack. And that would have happened when we had little bits of sell-off, and then you have a follow-through sell-off. But every sell-off we've seen has been rebuffed by a much stronger rally, right? You think about it. When the door creaks open, right, you would think, okay, well, then if these things were bubbles, that would be the opportunity where everybody would burst through and just start selling this market. But that's not been the case. Every time this market has sold off, it's been rebuffed within a day, within a week, within maybe 2 weeks in July, right? But, the market tells me that there's plenty of enthusiasm, plenty of growth, and that I don't see any bubble at all.
No, I fully agree with you, and I love that you all the color you added on top of that. Another question I had for you is IPO season has been very dry for 2 years. I think that's going to change next year. There's going to be a floodgate of IPOs next summer specifically. What's your take on IPOs coming back? And if they do come back, is that a top of a bull market potentially? Because everyone's trying to get the most amount of valuation in the public markets.
I know. Yeah. So listen, the whole IPO story it's been, look, there's all this stuff around coming into the election that wait for Trump to be elected because he's going to get rid of a lot of the regulators, and that we're going to see a plethora of M&A, and that it's going to start to move higher, right? Look, there is a market for the IPOs, but look, we've seen this. It's been a dry season, right? It's really been a dry season ever since the WeWork debacle, right?
Yeah.
The market we've had, look, 2018 and 19, we were having 10, 12, 15 IPOs a day here on the floor. And then things started to sort of wean off. Then you had the SPAC season, right? And then they overdid the SPAC thing. They made too many of them. And there was not enough companies to fill that void, to fill into the SPACs, right? And that faded off. And then we had the WeWork thing, which if anyone doesn't know is, look, IPOs are really based on confidence, right? And if you don't have confidence in a new company coming on and all the things around that, well, then people are not going to throw their money into a lot of unknown. And that whole WeWork thing, everybody played the WeWork game all the way till the end, until
Yeah.
obviously the night before WeWork went public, we found out it was all smoke and mirrors, and that Weinberg was spending all his money on blowing hookers, right? So
Yeah.
that blew the whole thing wide open, and that broke everyone's confidence on IPOs across the board. And literally ever since then, we've really not seen any traction in IPOs. I think it's going to change. I agree with you. I think whether it's to do with Trump or not, I think it's more to do with regulators, and we're going to start seeing M&A, and we're going to start seeing people feeling that this is the dawn of a new day, 2025, whether it's a new administration. I'm not, I don't think that rally we saw post-election was that much of a Trump rally, as much of just a relief rally that the election was over. All of this discord amongst everybody here, like you can't even have dinner with your uncle if he's on the other side of the table any longer, right? All that is sort of behind us. And now we're going to have a fresh start. Mr. Trump cannot take credit for the last 4-year rally, right? That would make no sense. And I'm sure he is a businessman, whether a good one or not, I'm not clear. But the bottom line is, he's not going to throw a wrench in something that works, right? The markets work, right? Everything around this market, whether it's Jay Powell, I'm a fan of his, whatever anybody thinks, I think he got us out of a major jam. I don't think if he had not done what he did, we'd all be on breadlines right now around the whole COVID story. So literally, we've gone from 8.5% inflation down to 2 and change. So we are way better off than we were a couple of years ago. So I agree with you. I think people are they're looking for alternative investments. Look at how much enthusiasm there is now around Bitcoin, around meme coins, around everyone's looking for something new and something fresh to throw money into. And I think that IPOs are going to be it. I agree with you.
No, it's going to be exciting. It's, one quick hot take I want to take because we're at the hour, but I want to see your perspective on it. You brought up WeWork. I've been referencing OpenAI has a lot of WeWork stench, and I don't think they're ever going to go public, ever.
Wow, I love that's really interesting. I never even thought of that. You know what? Look, I think I have a show with Dan Ives. Dan Ives is like, my opinion, #1 tech analyst in the world, and so I go to him for everything to do with AI with Nvidia. He's the guy who called Nvidia at 108 in February 2023, and so he's my go-to when it comes to that story. And I saw more, and originally I saw way more negative around AI and the whole Nvidia story, that it was going to outsource people in every industry. And he warned me and said that is really not the fact. AI is real. It is a revolution, right? Trillions of dollars are going into it, and that we shouldn't fear it. We should really embrace it. So whether that company per se is going to be the one where there is a bubble behind it, it's very possible. It feels that way, the way the guy is sort of closeted in so many ways and didn't invest in his own company and didn't want to take money and all that stuff. Maybe that is the case, but I love that. I'm going to look more into that. I like the conspiracy theory, the smile on your face.
I mean, I come from that world of corporate strategy, so I kind of know like the fluff language, and Sam is all about that fluff. And I don't think he wants anyone looking under the hood on the financial engineering he's doing. And I don't think Microsoft might not want that either, because it feels like a lot of like, I'm helping you out and you're helping us out with our Azure numbers specifically. Yeah.
I like that idea. I definitely, I'm going to play that story a little bit. I love it. Good.
Go for it.
I love it. Peter, I love hearing all the New York Stock Exchange noises in the background. It's my favorite. All the beeping and everything. I love it.
It's like the movie It's a Wonderful Life. Every time you hear that beep, somebody's making money, right?
Right. I love that.
It's the cash register. So I'm actually here right under the podium. So yes, I am here on the floor.
Super cool.
Let's go. Yeah. Shout out to you, man. Well, Peter, we appreciate you coming on as always. Guys, if you're in the audience, make sure you're following Peter at Einstein of Wall Street on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. He's the man.
Check it out. We're actually going to be I'm hoping to, I just got asked to be the new host of a new show called Going Public. And so that's going to probably be, we're shooting that in January. Awesome. But if anybody's on and they want to, so, I have this academy called Wall Street Global Trading Academy. Tonight, we're having a live free masterclass on technical analysis. So if anybody wants to hop on, you got to register, but it's live and it's free. And we're going to probably give away the course at a discount and stuff. But we're definitely going to be talking about how to trade this market using technicals and risk management in sort of a post-election world. So everybody's
Great stuff. Peter, well, we appreciate you. Have a great day there on the floor. Thanks again for coming on.
I'm happy to come on anytime. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Have a great one. And guys, in the audience, reminder of that webinar. I've been on a few of those webinars. They're amazing.
You're wonderful.
Especially
Thanks,
if you're
Jay.
new.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Make sure you're tuning into that. So, but we're at the top of the hour now. I think we're going to wrap things up for the day. But Shay, appreciate you. It was a great morning talking. I hope everybody has a safe day trading. We're gonna see what we can do. Hopefully, I mean, it's already looking like a better day than yesterday in terms of the movement. So we'll see what the day holds. But either way, enjoy the day, guys. Have a safe day trading, and we'll see everybody bright and early in the morning.